Watkins, and today we have a very serious topic. That topic is going to be about learning to fight with our minds, not with guns, not with our hands. Sadly, this year has been it's been a rough year. As I go up and down my Facebook timeline, I keep seeing the rest in peace, rest in power, rest in happiness. And a lot of times this is for people to look like myself, particularly black men in particular. And this something right here, y'all may think it's off topic because I always talk about personal governance. But guess what? Personal governance, this couldn't be more relevant. Because like I said, govern your attitude and your actions. And so a lot of times when we see about these premature deaths, this gun violence, people getting shot, people getting stabbed, mostly shot. And the thing that really stand out to me is how a lot of times people say, well, man, they didn't want to take him. They didn't want to take him to the top. They couldn't deal with it with the hands. People need to put these guns down and start fighting like they used to. Well, I want to challenge that. Why don't we learn how to fight with our minds? Why don't we learn how to sit down and make peace instead of making war? Yeah, there's a time. I'm not saying being passive. Hey, somebody come into your house. If it's a home invasion, you got to defend your family. You got to defend yourself. But why do we feel like it's necessary to always feel like, I got a problem, so we're going to handle it violently? And then when that violence accelerates, we wonder why it accelerated. Oh, well, they should have just fought with their hands. They should have just went to the street. Should they even, is it an issue where they even had to fight physically, period? Why did it even have to manifest into a violent situation? Why can't we be adults, both men and women, and sit down and talk out our differences? Even if, tempers are exploding, you go on your end, I go on my end, and then one of us be mature enough to say, hey man, things went sideways, let's sit down, And if we need to have neutral parties, have neutral parties. Have people that care about both y'all on both sides to where, hey, it's going to be neutral. We're going to sit down and we're going to hash this out. Because a lot of times it's not worth fighting about. And it definitely ain't worth dying about. So when in the spirit of personal governance, when are we going to govern ourselves more maturely? To where we say, you know what? Oh, he looked at me crazy. Is that worth dying for? I don't like the way he looked at me. I don't like the fact that he stepped on my Jordans. Is that worth, pushing him and shoving him? Then we get into a fight. We get into a tussle. Now you done body slam me in my white Jordan outfit, and I'm embarrassed. So I go to my trunk, and next thing you know, somebody dead. Or we getting into it over whatever. We getting into it over whatever kind of dispute. Because a lot of times, is it a life or death issue is the question. Is it worth dying and or killing for? We have to have a greater appreciation for maturity. Because a lot of times we are rooting this manhood from a very toxic perspective. Well, he ain't take no stuff. He always spoke his mind. He always did what he had to do. What do that mean when you're burying him when he's 30? Yes, it's a time to speak up. Yes, it's a time to stand up. But is it worth dying? To prove what point? To prove that you can die? To prove that you can take a bullet? To prove that you can pull a trigger? To prove that you can look at somebody that look like you and take their life with little or no regard? That's what we doing now? Same thing, having different domestic issues. Guys having issues with with their kid's mom, and guys is taking out, shooting their baby's mama, the mother of your child, rather than saying, hey, I cared about you enough, even if it wasn't love, I cared about you enough to lay down and make a life with you. Can we at least sit down and figure out how we can be co-parents? Can we at least sit down like two adults? And if we can't, then maybe we just got to go our separate ways. But we ain't got to get to a point to where we got to kill each other. We got to put our hands on each other. We got to get to a place in personal governance to where we work hard on ourselves and we work hard on working with others. Because we are people. A lot of times say, well, you know, I ain't no people person. Well, what kind of person are you? Are you a car person? Are you a park person? Are you a cat person? Are you a dog person? At the end of the day, we procreate with each other. We live and love each other. For the most part, we're not marrying no dog. We're not marrying no car. We're not marrying no motorcycle. We're not having babies with the bike. I hope not. We are interacting and engaging and connecting and relating with people. So we have to learn how to live together, or we're going to continue to die apart. So let us start fighting with our mind. Let us start making peace with each other. I know it's hard, but tell me it ain't worth it. Tell me your life ain't worth it. Tell me your son's life ain't worth it. Tell me your brother's life ain't worth it. Tell me your mother's life ain't worth it. Tell me that the effort's not worth it. I'll wait. Tell me what's worth it. Because a lot of times, it's not like, well, you know, he came up in the house and he got shot. He broke into the house. A lot of times, this is not even the kind of stuff that's going on. A lot of this stuff is over petty beef, over petty issues. This chick liked you. This dude rolled up on me. The way he looked at me all strong. And a lot of times, what? This is why somebody's dead at 40? Because somebody looked at him crazy and they got into an argument? A look? An item gets destroyed? Your pride gets hurt? And now somebody's buried? We got to do better. And we can do better. And yes, it is hard, but yes, we are worth it. You are worth it. And you can do it. Are you willing to? All right, that's my time for the day. If you enjoyed it, subscribe, share. Let's do this. We got power. Let's start using it. That's my time.